Okay, I'm recording at a video because that's just probably longer than a short. But this video is inspired by Carpiel's Nakshatras videos, where he traced where the moon is in a nakshatra and what are the significations. So I'm learning the lunar mentions now, and I was looking at the 13th lunar mention. So the 13th lunar mention is Al Awa, or the angel is Zerbiel, and is it? Sorry, I hope I pronounced it right. So about this nakshatra, when you make magic for this nakshatra, basically you're supposed to paint the in red wax a man with an erect penis, and in white wax a woman. This is from Picatrix / Christopher Warnock. In white wax a woman, and then facing each other, then wrap it with silk that you sprayed rose water on it. And I don't remember the fumigation. I think I just said aloe. I'm gonna pronounce it as lingam for sure. Lignum. Anyway, and this lunar mention is basically for dissolving fertility issues and erectness issues, but also like sexual problems in general. And it's good for, I think, harvest and crops and fertility of the land and fertility of people, and removing curses from coupling, like people who have curses that they won't have couples or that they will be separated. So removing these curses, and for people who can't like function sexually for whatever barb for whatever problem. I literally barked. Like, whoa. Anyway, so that is also the case. So I was tracing things that happened around this signification, and as I was watching the shorts, one of the most obvious comment, this margaritas video. So there was literally a short by a man who and his partner that were going to a cafe, and there's this song playing while they are dating, and she's kind of drinking and so like, oh, talking, and then when they get home she's like sleeping. And just no tab A into slot B enters because they're sleeping. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just this lunar nakshatra, because those are exactly the significations of the issues and things that people tackle with their sexuality towards an intimate union or encounter. And I just thought that was pretty gorgeous. So, yeah. For sure there were others, but the margaritas one were. Oh, and I finally understood that the last line is her putting it in his bum, because I was like, what's the difference between the tush and the bum? So like, oh, the tush is her receiving or anal sex, and then the bum is her giving anal sex. So many significations. Oh, plus I follow. If you live in the U.S., I think you can get a free sex toy. Or something, or coupon. There is this woman on Instagram called Becky Meal, and the way I know her, which is really funny, you gotta listen to this. Mercury is the ruler of my seventh and fourth. Fourth is house and also housing, and it's in my second, which is ownership and business and money making. So I was listening to Rich BFF videos about financials, whatnot, and she posted about Becky Meal, who is basically a sex worker. And when she was homeless, she began to be a sex worker, and she started doing, I think, OnlyFans or something like that. And later she became house owner, and now she has houses for people that can rent them for a relatively affordable price in London. And that is basically her project, because when she was homeless there was no affordable housing, and now she's able to do that. And by the way, doing something like that in many countries is tax deductible. That's not why she does that, but it's tax deductible. So if you want to do that and you are a landowner and you want to have affordable housing, there are many ways that you can do it tax deductible, so that you can even consider it donation. Like I said, an investment is a donation, and a donation is an investment when you become a business owner. So um so that's how I know her, and she's a sex worker, so I follow her Instagram. And for me it's not applicable because I'm in Israel, but she has a coupons for a free sex toy. Yeah, so you have to go to Becky Meal, um, which is exactly what it sounds like, on Instagram. And I'm not getting dividends for that. I was just like, oh, I saw this today. And then I was looking at the shop, and I was like looking at sex toys. Like, that's what happened. That's what happens, you know? So I still have significations of this lunar mansion. And of course, my intent to do magic with it that I didn't do because Saturn, uh, whatever. But I did look at Christopher Warnock's 13th Lunar Mansion talisman, because I'm like, I just want this energy from a good place. And those are the significations that I saw. So I'm sharing this with you, and if you want a free sex toy, then you hop onto Becky Meal on Instagram, and she has that, and you can. And basically, whenever you support this woman, then this goes to affordable housing in London. So why not? And if you want to make affordable housing, then know, and you are already like landowner or something like that, then know that it is probably tax deductible, and you can register it as I don't know if you need a fund for that or not. And you can absolutely, like, you can decide how much of that are you able to basically afford, and then you just write it off as, and that's tax deductible. I'm pretty sure you can do that internationally too. I know that internationally you usually don't pay taxes, but it can also be if you want to invest. Now many people look for investment in other countries, including me with my humble welfare. But um, many people look for that, and if you want to get a passport of another country, and I'm not an expert on any of that. Neither is anybody that tells you, like, you really have to do your own research about every country. I won't say no names, but I can't emphasize that enough. And there's no agency that can do that for you for all the like. No, it doesn't exist. Like, you really have to. You can use their assistance, but you really have to do your own checkup, because if you want to get the details right. And there are many countries where you can have investment um, uh, passport. So if you invest in the country, you get another passport. And if you're investing, you say, okay, I don't need this, but let's say you invest in another country, depending on which country that you're from, it can be the case. And again, I'm not a consultant, you need to check me, that you can invest, buy housing, buy land, like put money in it, and consider it as a donation, because you're not actually getting money from these tenants, okay? Or even that the money that you're getting from these tenants is subsidized, and you need to know what the rules are of the country that you're in, and of the country that you're doing that in. And that way it's tax deductible, and you can do it. Definitely it means that you need to understand in real estate, which I can't save you like that rattle. But it's something that's absolutely possible. um and yeah, like the more people do it. I'm not a landowner myself yet, but the more people do it, the more we have affordable housing. And by the way, it also contributes to real estate, because right now, if you're a landlord or you're investing in real estate, your tenants, both business and private, and if you have that, like, what people do with real estate, then basically you want to target the people that can afford your fully priced product, and are living in your or working in your estate for the right reasons. Okay, let's say somebody wants to move in, or somebody wants to travel the world, and they just want to have a summer house or a winter house. Those are that's the meat, right? It's not the people who can't afford their wages. And when we have these donations, we actually clear the path. We kind of filter out all the people that want to live in our household for the wrong reason, and have them have respectable, dignified, affordable housing and affordable place to have their businesses, which is also important. Okay, people also need that for business, not just for youngpreneurs and so on. And then when you actually get to own the estate, so it's somebody's summer house and somebody's winter house, and they can, like, for some people, like I would pay for the whole year if I would like go on abroad, just to know that I have this comfort place where I can just lay my head, and I don't have to pay property tax, and that would be like a good deal for me. And those are like those that's your money, you know? So, yeah, those are my thoughts and significations. I don't know how much that refers to the lunar mansion, because for me, like I said, Mercury, which is the ruler of this lunar mansion, is in the second house, ruling the seventh and fourth. So, relations, real estate, and property. And one of the things that I did, by the way, if you have the ruler of your seventh in your second, you can tend to either be attracted to or attract people where the relationship is like you own ownership. Okay. I'm not talking about kink, I'm talking about the actual, like, malefic aspects of that. And what I did to deal with that is basically to see my own property as a relationship, rather than to see the person as owned by me or me owned by them. I just see where I live as a relationship. It's very frightening because I have, like, for me, it was extreme, Pluto, whatnot, but it doesn't have to be this extreme. It's simply that when you see your own, like the things that you supposedly own, as things that choose to be with you, um, which is essentially how it is, without blaming yourself for when you don't have things, because it's not always that the things don't choose to be with you. There are more things involved with that. Then that can help you also cultivate healthy relationship with people. Anyway, that's it for me today. And this was 13th Lunar Mansion. Bye bye.